I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Lammersville Unified School Board of Education to order at 7 o'clock. Just a reminder, this meeting is being recorded, so please turn off or silence your cell phone. And if you would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance. Roll call, please.
Matthew Balzerini.
Here.
Colin Clements.
Here.
Ann Goodrich.
Here.
Sharon Lampel.
Here.
David Pombo.
Here.
Ruxar Mohammed.
Item 4, approval and or corrections to the agenda.
There are none.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The agenda is approved. And I would just like to take a moment to welcome our new student board member to her first meeting, Ruxar Mohammed. Welcome. And at this time, I would also like to welcome all of our new hires. I'm guessing all the new faces in the audience are our new hires. Welcome, and at this time, we will take a 10-minute recess to enjoy some cookies and whatever else is on that table over there. Thank you.
Okay, we are in recess. It got mighty quiet, Mr. President.
We'll now resume the board meeting. Thank you. Item 6, committee reports, Facilities Committee. It's come to my attention that the electrical usage at Cuesta School is out of line with the rest of what our campuses are using, and I would like consensus from the board to take it to the Facilities Committee where we can discuss possibly looking for the cause of it, or alternatively maybe looking into some sort of a solar system at Cuesta to help augment the electrical usage there. Is there any discussion from the board?
I think it's a great idea. This has been an ongoing issue. I know that ever since the design of the school, heating costs more, electric costs more, because I think it was a poor design. But if there's options to try and alleviate that, that'd be great. So yeah, I think the committee's a way to go to look into it.
Agreed from me.
Agreed.
I'm fine with that.
All right, then we will move forward with that. Anything to add to the Facilities Committee, Trustee Clements?
No, sir.
Thank you. Governing Board reports. Madam Student Trustee Mohammed.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Ruxar Mohammed, and I'm honored to be serving this year as a 2018 to 2019 Student Board member. I've been involved in the Academics Committee at MHHS for 1 year now, and I'm excited to continue this year. This month, leadership is starting to plan for homecoming, which will occur in October of this year. And at the end of August, we will be having our very first home football game, and we are planning for that too. And the week after, we will be holding a Powder Puff tournament as well.
What is the date of the first home game?
August 24th.
August 24th. Thank you. Can't be there.
Thank you. Trustee Goodrich.
I was delighted to spend a little bit of time in R&R with my fellow board members at a pool party hosted by Madam Trustee Lampel at the house of Trustee Clements. But other than that, I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Trustee Clements.
I did attend the breakfast for classified staff last Tuesday, along with President Pombo and Superintendent Nicholas and Associate Superintendent Harrison. It was a great event. I enjoyed it very much. And I did finally manage, as Trustee Goodrich said, I did finally manage to honor a commitment that I had made. Trustee Lampel had generously bid on a backyard barbecue pool party that we donated to Quest to School Foundation, and it took me over a year because I was having pool equipment. So I wanted to thank Trustee Lampel for her patience, and she invited the board and Dr. Nicholas, and so I wanted to thank her for her generosity. It was a lot of fun, and I hope that everyone had a good time and the food was acceptable. That's the end of my board report. Thank you, Trustee Lampel.
Thank you. Trustee Balzerini.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Trustee Lampel.
This man can cook. It was a great afternoon. Unfortunately, I had to miss all of the opening activities here due to opening activities where I work. So besides a wonderful Sunday afternoon with my board colleagues, I have no report.
Thank you. I attended the new hire luncheon at the high school. Very happy to see so many eager faces ready to help educate our students. I also attended the welcome back breakfast for the certificated employees, where it was my privilege to help recognize employees for 5, 10, and 15 years of service, including Superintendent Nicholas, who completed 5 years with LUSD. I also attended the welcome back breakfast for classified employees, again helping to honor the employees for years of service with LUSD. I also had the pleasure of joining LTA for their luncheon, and my wife and I enjoyed the WSF Welcome Back to School Pancake Breakfast. There seems to be a theme here in the things I've done. I guess if you offer me something to eat, I will show up. I also went to the inaugural back to school night at Hanson Elementary. It was well attended, and teachers seemed excited to start the school year and happy with the new campus. And I attended the Questa back to school night. There was an overflow crowd in the MPR, and everyone seems happy to be back in school. And that, well, the parents and the teachers seem to be happy to be back in school. I don't know about the students. And that concludes my report. Receiving of public comments. The board shall give members of the public an opportunity to address the board either before or during the board's consideration of each agenda item. At a time so designated on the agenda, members of the public may also bring before the board matters that are not listed on the agenda of a regular meeting. The board may refer such a matter to the superintendent or designee or take it under advisement, but shall not take action at that time. The board may place the matter on the agenda of a subsequent meeting for discussion or action. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item, and the board shall limit time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. I don't have any blue sheets, and I don't see anyone waving at me that they want to address the board at this time. So we will move on to consent items for consideration. Governing Board meeting minutes, regular meeting August 1st, 2018, ratification of contracts under $25,000, ratification of 2018-2019 hires, ratification of resignations, ratification of retirement, revised budget revisions and warrants, and updated fundraisers.
I'll move for approval of consent items as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. District administrative reports. Oh, Trustee Lampel.
So we would like to welcome the following new employees to our Lammersville family. Wajma Aslami, high school counselor. Ashley Bastisti, special education aide. Cassandra Beal, self-contained classroom teacher. April Bertola, Administrative Assistant. Timothy Boyd, Health Teacher. Travis Buster, Social Studies Teacher. Cherie Christensen, English Teacher. Kelly DeLong, K-8 Elementary Office Supervisor. Mandy Duran, Self-Contained Classroom Teacher. Kyla Hughes, Self-Contained Classroom Teacher. Chelsea Johnson, Self-Contained Classroom Teacher. Anna Juarez, Chemistry Teacher. Serafin Lomeli, School Psychologist. Faletolu Lumas, Self-Contained Classroom Teacher. Ruben Martinez, Operations Lead. Is that McKendra McCoy?
Yes, it's a new position.
Okay, Library Media Teacher. Lakshmi Mohan Babu, Self-Contained Classroom Teacher. Sean Muhammad, Math Teacher. Ashley Palmer, Self-Contained Classroom Teacher. Juan Raimundo Perez, K-8 Custodian Lead. Zenaida Rogers, Self-Contained Classroom Teacher. Graciana Smith, Special Education Aide. Catherine Svankara, Self-Contained Classroom Teacher. Mary Timothy, Self-Contained Classroom Teacher. Lucas Trifo, Self-Contained Classroom Teacher. Nancy Villa, Spanish Teacher. And Paul Ways, Chemistry Teacher. Welcome to Lammersville.
Moving on to item 10, District Administrative Reports. Superintendent's Report. Dr. Nicholas?
Yes, I just have a couple of brief items. We have a really neat time-lapse video we wanted to show the board of the building of Hanson. So we'll start with that. It lasts, I think, about 45 seconds.
Wow.
Now, that's not quite as fast as they built it, but we do know that Corinne's life has been simply very similar to those flashing lights and images. So she's done a great job getting the school open along with her team. I don't see Christina here, but they've worked very hard.
So you're planning the grand opening of Cordis tomorrow?
Yes, well, and it'll look just like that, I have a feeling. So the other thing, speaking of Cordis, we have I just wanted to show you the plot maps. On the left is the neighborhood C, which is where Hanson's at, and on the right is where neighborhood D, where the high school in Cordis will be. The green is a finalized permit location, meaning a house is there, and a yellow is a previously issued permit, and the ones with a little red around them are models. But as you can see, they're building houses very, very fast. And I can tell you that the houses are being framed right around the circumference of the curve at Hanson, and I would say within a week, they're houses. So we're enthused about this, but we also want to point out that neighborhood D is filling in really, really fast. There are 3 sections that still have not begun building, obviously to the south of the high school. The high school is that large rectangle in the upper left-hand corner. So those 2 lots there, that's the high school. Go down south of that. Those are the 2 that haven't begun much building yet. And if you can go to the middle where that long rectangle is, that is the site for Cordis. To the left, that littler section is the park. And then over to the right is properties owned by Shea. And I don't want to say this absolutely, but I believe that a issue that had to be resolved has been resolved, and based on a vote at the CSD next month, that too will start seeing building occur. So this is the fastest I've seen it move here. But Mr. Clements is correct. We got to start building the school very, very fast. And that probably means that next school year, we believe that Hanson will fill up this year. We will overflow kids out into the community like we did last year. and we are sweating a little bit on our brow about if this pace continues, how much overflow and a possibility of temporary housing having to come in for a short period of time while the school's getting built. I'm not saying that's going to happen, just saying that's what we're considering. But we have space available in our schools a little bit, and we have Hanson, which opened at 632, and it houses 650. So that's where we're at. Thought I'd just let you guys know. But all good stuff. And that is my report.
Thank you. District enrollment report, Dr. Nicholas.
So this one always comes with a caveat. It's the first of the year. Presented to the board in this packet is a enrollment of 5,349. That number will go down. We have an annual ritual we call butts and seats. So there's what you have in the system. Then you got to count human beings. That's got to be done a few times. Tomorrow, Thursday, is the big one. We know that Ben at the high school is anxiously anticipating that because they think their number is going to be somewhere over 1,300 kids. So we're talking about large numbers of humans, but this number is not tight yet. But what I can say is when it all settles out, unless something was really weird, not only our enrollment but our ADA will exceed 5,000 students. So that's quite a threshold for this district, with about 4,000 more kids to go. So we're well past the 50% mark for build out.
Thank you. District maintenance and operations report, Mr. LeGrand.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
I have a brief report. I was on vacation a couple of days, so I'm just getting back today. School started very smoothly for us across the board. Hanson opening went very smooth. I want to thank Corinne and her staff. Teachers were great, very patient, flexible, easy to work with. Some even brought us some cookies, which was great. We need some energy, so really helpful there. I want to thank all the custodians and all the M&O staff for their hard work this summer. Made school opening went really smooth for us. As for me, I attended the Hanson construction meeting today. We continue to put pressure on the contractor at pretty much every meeting, and I want to commend Roblin for their patience with this district. So they're really flexible, working with us really hard. Upcoming for us, I have a meeting with a user group tomorrow. I have some issues with one of the user groups. I'll meet with them in my office tomorrow to go over those issues. Friday, I have a meeting with one of the principals about some custodial issues. And then next Thursday, our energy manager will be in the district, and we're going to walk all the sites, spend the whole day walking all the sites, looking at energy management type stuff. And then I'll have a report a few weeks after that, just so I can share with the board. And that's pretty much all I have. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any update on cameras?
The cameras are pretty much done across the board. We added cameras at the pool house. We added cameras under the eave at the high school. We added cameras inside all the multipurpose rooms. We upgraded the servers at the high school. The only thing we're kind of waiting on is Hanson. We'll probably have to add some cameras down the road, but the buildings, we only have half the school at the moment. So
Training for viewing everything, that's all rolling?
Sean and I are working on the training, yes. Okay. But we're still well under the board-approved budget, and we have upgraded way beyond what the initial project was supposed to be.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item D, 2017-2018 Cafeteria Year-End Financial Report. Ms. Hill.
Good evening. Sorry, I'm going to move backwards to last year since I didn't get to review everything with you. And page 29 of your board packet was our financials for the end of the year. We had revenues of $1,421,000. Unfortunately, we had expenditures of $1,449,000 and change, which left us in a deficit of about $28,000. We had an exorbitant amount of repairs on our equipment. Our district's getting older, about $38,000 in repairs. Alvina and I went and looked back, and the history was between $2,000 and $7,000 in repairs per year. So there's a multitude of issues that are happening that I hope don't happen this year through purchasing of new equipment. and hopefully managing better the maintenance of the equipment that's getting older. We also had to purchase a new water heater for Wickland. So the district's getting a little bit older, but we're trying to be nice to our equipment. Our participation is average. As in years past, we're serving approximately 45% of the student population by the end of the year. It's always a little bit lower at the beginning of the year, and we're hoping to see that ramp up. So I have some concerns this year, but I'm hoping that we will still come out at least as even as possible. Do you have any questions?
Mr. President, if I could say something real quick. As the proud brother of a food service director, I can speak both in my experience with Bernie and my sister. Running a surplus in money every year is a good sign of leadership, but it's also a good sign of leadership when you make good investments. And sometimes you have to spend money to repair older equipment, which is not a reflection of leadership. It's just the way things are. And so I want to make sure that we're very proud of our constantly high numbers in terms of the money that we invest in food for our kids. But just because we have a deficit doesn't mean we didn't do a good job. So I wanted to make sure, because Bernie was being humble, that we acknowledge that.
Thank you.
As always, thank you very much, Bernie.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Thank you. Item 11, action items. Consider approval of 2018-2019 intra-district transfer requests. Staff report.
I just have a brief correction. There was a handout put in on the dais here. We discovered a double negative typo, so that has been amended. So we would like to submit the IDAs with this amendment for approval.
Move to approve 2018-2019 inter and intra-district transfer requests.
I'll second.
Further questions or comments by the board? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, consider approval of educational specifications facilities master plan. Staff report.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Mr. Harrison to come up and speak to the details of these two plans. These have been long-standing effort on our part to update documents that were born in 1998. Mr. Harrison will explain the process and the results, but some of this is required in our approval process for DSA and Cordis and future schools, and some of this was we needed to update a very old document.
Thank you. Board President Pombo, trustees, Dr. Nicholas, thank you for having me. Back in August of about the same time period last year, Dr. Nicholas made a presentation of the previous facilities master plan. And in that plan, we looked at the projections from 1998 moving forward. What you have in your packet is an updated version of the facilities master plan, education specifications, and a master education specifications document that Wes King from NMR created for our Cordis project. So moving forward, the education specifications, which was contracted out with cooperative strategies, was a process facilitated by cooperative strategies where all stakeholders that are involved in the school process were brought together in what they called labs, planning labs. The first planning lab occurred at our newest K-8 school at Altamont Elementary School. And in that lab, we took teachers, custodial staff, parents, all the constituents that we have with Altamont School. And they did a lab where the question was asked, what is the ideal specifications for a classroom? What is the ideal specifications for a playground, play field, all the facilities that we use for a school site? The facilitators brought the team together. In their introduction, they talked about what we're looking for when it comes to the classroom setting. And in that setting, how it contributes to the learning of our children. And that was really their focus. What are the things that we can bring in our learning spaces, in our outdoor spaces, and what are your highest expectations? So highest expectations meaning if there was no dollar sign, what is the maximum you would like for your schools in Lammersville and specifically at Altamont? And then in the second lab, they asked the same question for a party that was representative of the school district. So some of the things that were brought forward in the education specs in their findings was modularity. There needed to be modularity in the classroom so that the teachers could move things around, create groups, and have flexibility in the learning space. Another big item that came forward was equanimity across all schools, having the same product in one school as we have in the other school. Not that the newest school would get all the newest stuff, but there would be a trickle-down effect. They also were very adamant about collaboration spaces because, our teachers, we have defined collaboration time in our district, and the teachers felt that collaboration time and spaces was important to have so that they could collaborate. Obviously, our district is well advanced in technology, but they still felt that that was an important item to bring forward, that we need to continue to pursue technology and use that as an instructional tool. That came from all parties, not just the teachers, but parents and all our constituents. They affirmed the idea of the makerspace. We are currently in the process of adding makerspaces to our K-8 schools. It was good to hear that that group was in full support of the idea of makerspace. And then they also added music, a defined space for music, continuing music in the school district as we currently have that program. The activities that the participants participated in were all focused on what is best for our students. And all the communications that were had by the constituent groups were a real positive on what we're currently doing and to continue what we are currently doing. They felt very strongly in what we are currently doing and expanding what we are currently doing. Cooperative Strategies also worked with building a facilities master plan, and these documents are the documents that look like this with the maroon covers. And the facilities master plan talks about our facilities, where they've been historically and where they're going to go in the future, how many students we're going to have. The projections include not only future schools, but the plan accounts for transfers. It includes cohort survival rates, which survival rate's kind of a weird word, but that means students that are in our system first through 8th grade or all the way they matriculate all the way through our system. So they use formulas that account for how long students exist in our school system on average. They also take residential development and how fast and where that is occurring when they look at our numbers when it comes to facilities and our student counts. Now, one of the things that I did is I took our 1998 number projection for 2027 and 28 was 8,210 students by 2027-28. Now, that was the medium growth model. The fast growth models only went to 20 years. They didn't go to 30 years in the 1998 Facilities Master Plan. As you can see with this projection, the enrollment projection total is 9,376 students in 2027-28. And the 2018 is the planning year. So that's the planning year of the Facilities Master Plan. The breakdown on the numbers is high school will max out in 2027-28 with 2696 student count. 7-8, 1,492, and then TK8, 5,188 students. And you can see there that the blue section accounts for the TK8, the green section accounts for the 7-8, and the red section accounts for the high school counts as you move forward. If you look at their projections for this school year, because this report was started for last school year, 17-18, you'll note that we're a little bit above their projections currently. We're going a little bit faster than their projection shows right now as we speak.
Just
yes, sir.
Point of clarification. In some places, it says the blue is TK8, and in some places it says TK6. and the green is 7-8, so I'm assuming that it should be TK6 for the blue.
Yes, TK6. Yes, sir, that is a mistake. Yes, it should be TK6 for the blue, 7-8 for the green, and the red is the high school. Yes.
Thank you.
It's a little hard to read the number in the red for this current year, but it looks like it's 1329 for the high school.
Let me look.
Sorry.
Looks like it.
I'm a little old and kind of blind,
Yeah, me too.
being honest.
And the one in the packet, it says 1,210. I don't know how different that is from that.
That was 17-18, wasn't it?
Oh, that's 1718.
Oh, there it is.
Or there's the
Thank
Zoom
you.
mechanism.
Perfect.
Oh, look at that. That's fantastic. Thank you.
Noel.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Yeah, in current year, it says, wait, can you scroll up again just a little bit? No, the other way, so we can see the year. There we go. So 17, 18, 12, 10, 18, 19, 13, 29.
Okay.
So pretty close.
Pretty close.
The third document that you received was the Master Ed Specs plan that NMR, Wes King put together for us. He took these two documents right here, the research and the work that was done with these two documents, combined them into a single document, Master Ed Specs plan that goes with the Cordis project. That document has all the aspects of the Ed Specs and all the aspects of the facilities master plan combined to create one report to submit. Any questions?
No questions, but I have lots of comments. First off, this is a fabulous report, a lot of information. I think it's great that this district recognizes that we need to go back and revisit documents that were created in 1998 and update them. Our developers need to do the same thing. We're operating off a funding mechanism that was established in 1998, and it doesn't work for these numbers. So with the board's approval, I would like to recommend that the superintendent take this wonderful document and forward it to all the developers in the community services district so they can see what progression looks like and how the numbers that we have today don't match the numbers of 1998. And we cannot continue to fund education facilities that we have here from the 1998 projected dollars. It just doesn't work. I'd like to take this. I haven't had an opportunity to do it, but I'm going to take this and I'm going to compare it to Exhibit B and see how it relates, because I know that it's got to be way off. All of you know what's going on with our governor. Prop 51 dollars are being held back, and that's a requirement as part of our funding mechanism that says we have to use those dollars. So without a state bond and this projected growth, how on earth are we going to be able to build schools? We can't. I'm sitting here squirming in my seat as you're showing those pictures of all those homes being sold, because we don't have the money to build another school.
Yeah.
If that state bond does not come through like it's supposed to, and this Prop 51 dollars not released, I don't see how we can do this. So, well-written report, but it's extremely frightening for me. So,
Me too.
yeah. So, thank you. Thank you for the presentation.
I think the entire board and district staff share your fright.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
The only thing I would extend, and we've said it on the dais countless times, but every time we talk about this, I feel the need. It's not that this district has relied on state matching funds. It's that the funding mechanism developed by the developer relied on it. That was the mechanism in place at the time. That was what was agreed to at the time. And this board and this district, it's not like we just gambled and hoped. That was the funding mechanism. And it's not like we can find the money elsewhere. We need the developers. Yes, that is.
So real quick, direction from the board to engage in a communication effort to get this information to the developer and the CSD board.
Yes.
would
Yes.
like to, yeah.
Okay.
And
Good
I
presentation.
I wanted to say thank you very much. It was a lot to read, and I'm sure it was a lot more to coordinate. I thought it was very well written. Mr. President, I did have a couple of minor comments that do not need to be, they don't change the tone and timbre of the document. But thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
So a little clarification on what we're asking the superintendent to do. Is it just to share the documents with the developers and the CSD, or to sit down and have a meeting and point things out?
Well, I think sharing it's a good start, and then there needs to be I think that a future direction needs to be.
Yeah.
We need to revisit this mitigation agreement. It's time, and I don't know. That's a huge political football that needs to go downfield, but it needs to happen, and I think it needs to happen sooner rather than later. So at least if they can digest this, that's a good start.
And I think we all agree that it was something that's long been needed, but the information in this report just highlights the need for something moving forward.
Definitely.
Agreed.
It was necessary information, but it was not comfortable to read at all.
Well, and I think the information with the permits that have been pulled really drives it home. The number of spaces in Hanson School are already taken. We don't have anywhere else to put the students that are already moving into Cordis. So at some point, we need another school. And they need to find some money to build the school because they're putting houses there. So, it just begs the question at this point.
I feel like we've had this conversation before.
They have, but,
Too many times.
it's just getting scarier and scarier.
Move to approve educational, I think we do have sorry, Mr. President. Consensus.
Well, that's one thing, but we need to move.
Move to approve educational specifications and facilities master plan.
Thank you.
Second.
Further comments or questions by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, consider approval of revised unrepresented certificated job description mental health counselor. Staff report?
This is a need in the district. The staff has worked hard on finding a certificated version of this. It may be down the road we'll bring back a classified version of this job description, but this is a need for the district.
I move to approve the revised unrepresented certificated job description for a mental health counselor.
I'll second with comment. Not just a need for the district, but I can assure you from my involvement at the state level, this is a need all over the state. And I think that, I know there's a lot of school districts that are extremely jealous that we have a position like this. So kudos to the district for making it happen.
And I'd like to comment also that I much rather see us put in place supports like this than address problems in the district later with things like security guards or metal detectors. We need to address the needs of our students and put in supports ahead of the problems.
Being proactive and for the safety of our kids, for themselves, children who may self-harm.
Exactly.
And to have those concerns addressed.
Mm-hmm.
Proactive is much better than reactive.
Yes.
Exactly.
I believe I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Information and discussion items. Board self-evaluation. Staff report?
This past November, we had a board workshop facilitated by CSBA. It was recommended at that time that we go through this exercise, or the board goes through this exercise, and the board did so starting on June 15th through June 30th. And here are the results for the board to discuss.
Don't everybody talk at once.
Well, on the whole, I say it looks like we're doing a fairly good job.
Or at least we think we are.
There we go.
I think this report shows our cohesiveness as a board. I've worked for boards that were not cohesive, and that we pretty much share a vision, and we all work very, very hard to maintain that vision and to support the staff to achieve it.
Agreed.
And then the staff works very, very hard to keep us happy, achieving that vision.
Agreed.
Which might not always be the easiest. Further discussion?
It was very informative, and I would echo Trustee Lampell's comments.
Very well. I think we're all in agreement then. Item 13, calendar. Monday, September 3rd is Labor Day holiday. Wednesday, September 5th is our next regularly scheduled board meeting. In just a moment, we will adjourn to closed session where we will discuss public employee discipline, dismissal, release, complaint, public employee appointment, employment, evaluation superintendent, consider approval of a long-term leave of absence requested for a certificated employee number 129560, and conference with real property negotiators.
Move to adjourn to closed session.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We are now adjourned to closed session. Thank you all for coming out tonight. We're reconvening to open session at 9:25 p.m. During closed session held earlier tonight on a motion by Board Member Lampell and seconded by Board Member Clements, the board approved the leave of absence request for certificated employee 129560 from 1/24/19 to 5/24/19 by a vote of 5-0.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are now adjourned.